Once you have your paper mache done, you're ready for your Celluclay. Celluclay is actually just ground up, recycled newspapers that has been mixed with the same glue we've been using the whole time. I'll go ahead and mix it for you, and it will be in the bucket that's labeled "Keep the Lid On." When you're ready to start with your Celluclay, the one thing you must always have with you is your source material, because you're going to be adding things like eyeballs, nostrils, ears, and it's hard to make your animal look realistic if you can't look back and see how that animal actually looks. So always have your source material with you. I've got my donkey, he's ready to go, and I'm going to get a little bit of wet Celluclay from the bucket. Once I get this, I'm going to take a few minutes and softly knead it. I'm looking for bits of plastic that are inside that I can pull out and throw away, and I also want to make sure it feels even. I'm not squeezing it really hard, and I'm not trying to really get rid of moisture. I'm just trying to make it feel even. Once I have it feeling pretty even, I'm going to take a look at my source material and take a look at my armature, or my paper mache animal, and I'm going to notice that the hip has a problem on this donkey. It's really high here and it's really low here. So I'm going to need to build it up a little bit. Celluclay is great for doing things like building up muscles, and also if you have any odd lumps or bumps on your animal, you can smooth those out now. So I'll take my Celluclay and I'll put it on that part of the hip that doesn't match the other hip, that needs to be built up a little bit. I'll put it on and I'll pat it on gently, and to smooth it out I can use a little bit more of that same glue we've been using and dab it right on the top, and I can use that as a smoothing compound. Once this Celluclay dries, it's going to be hard, just like a rock. Look how hard this is. So I'm going to use a little bit of that glue we've already been using to smooth out the Celluclay. If that glue feels a little bit watery, you can use a little bit of the same glue that comes from the black bucket. It's in its thickened form, no water has been added to it. You may also choose to use this as a smoothing compound on the top. You don't need a lot, and please don't try to use the glue to fill in the clay to be absolutely smooth. The clay is going to end up being a little bumpy, and it's okay if this dries a little bumpy, because the next step after all of this will be adding white plaster and sanding it and getting it extremely smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and build up the back hip of that donkey, trying to make it match the other one. This is a great time also to think about putting a mouth, eyeballs, and that sort of thing on your animal. If you have an animal with an open mouth, you will use this clay to build that open mouth. Here I can put the nose on my donkey, put a little bit of the wallpaper paste on to smooth it, compress it so it's nice and uniform. Now I'm going to look back at that source material, and I'm going to look at how the donkey's mouth works. Okay, I can see that I need a little line. I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of wire and make a tool for myself. All right, I'll bring my donkey back over here, and I know I've got to create a mouth. When I create the mouth, I'm going to look back at my source material to see how the mouth goes, and I'm going to push in and create a little mouth profile. You guys go a little, make your eyeballs and mouths and that sort of stuff a little deeper and bigger than you think maybe they need to be, just a little bit, because once we add that white plaster, it'll start to fill in a little bit, and I don't want your little mouths and eyes to disappear entirely when you put the white plaster on. So I'm going to make it just a little bit deeper than I think it needs to be. and smooth it, pinch it into shape. I can make nostrils on my donkey, always looking back at my source material. And you're going to take this Celluclay, and you're going to cover your whole entire animal with it until it's really, really solid. It'll take a couple days to completely dry. And when you're finished with your Celluclay after every period, if you have a little bit left, you'll just put it right back in the bucket. And if you have a little bit of this left, you'll just go put it back on the supply table. All right, and that is how to use your Celluclay.